amazing ladies in business. Welcome to the HerStory podcast. I'm your host, Kylie King, the founder of Australian Ladies in Business Initiative, and I am so excited today to be joined by the incredible Grace Leeming from the Blossoming Collective. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me, Kylie. I really appreciate it.
So let's get started with the listeners. So tell us a bit about who you are and what you do.
Oh, that's always a loaded question, isn't it? So I am a solo mum to one beautiful daughter, who is always is my biggest teacher. She has taught me a lot, that's for sure. She reflects back to me, I think, the learnings that I need at that time of life. And because of her, I have created the Blossoming Collective. This business has been birthed from, I guess, the journey we go through as a mother, right? So I have gone through this roller coaster ride of emotions of feeling lonely and everything we go through, from guilt to wanting to be a better mother to things that we need to do, we feel we need to, the pressure, the expectations of being a good mum. And I have learnt a lot from her, and I guess that's why I created this business, because I wanted to create something that I could build around our lifestyle, that I can be more present and available for her. Coming from a background of being very independent and traveling around, I lived in the States for 9 years. So I lived in New York, Nashville, and Montana. So have a very independent sort of gypsy living, I suppose you could say, in a sense. So then when I came back to Australia and I had my daughter Ellie, it sort of stopped me in my tracks a little bit, I guess. And I, in some ways, lost a little bit of who I was, or who I thought I was. And that was hard to deal with. And I think that's what a lot of mothers go through, this concept of, oh, I'm a mum now. Now what? Am I just a mum? Is there more? Can I do more? Can I be more? And there's a lot of expectations and societal pressures put on us, thinking that we need to be a certain way or be a certain mother to be a good mother for our children. And the lessons that I've learned through the things that I've been doing, breathwork being one of them, rebirthing breathwork, and matrescence studying, have just opened my world to tools and resources, as well as body-based awarenesses of how to move through the things that we need to move through so that we can be available for our children. And I am in the thick of it, just as all the other mothers are. We all go through it, and that's another thing. We don't talk about it, or we think that nobody else is going through what we're going through, but we are actually all going through the same thing in some way or another. And I think there needs to be more discussion around that. I think we need to, bring it to the table, so to speak. We need to open up more spaces available for mothers to have these open questions so that they can be seen and heard and validated in everything they're feeling. And that's what I want to do with the Blossoming Collective. I've created this business from my intuition and my inner knowing and feeling of what I have gone through and what I want to support other mothers to go through. And yeah, I'm just excited to bring it out into the world. It's like birthing a baby is birthing a business as well, in a sense. And it's just there's so many synchronicities and intricacies of being a mother and birthing a business, and all of the mandala of modalities that I have, with breathwork, yoga, mindfulness, matrescence studies. I get to weave something beautiful that I can bring to the mothers to support them and guide them and help them get through what they're going through, the emotional overwhelm, the guilt, the loneliness. I want to support them in what I've been going through, because no mother should do a journey on her own. We need our tribe, we need our village, we need a support. And I want to create that, and I want to be that for the mothers that need that. Sorry, that was a
Beautiful.
long-winded.
Beautiful, because you covered so many amazing factors in that. One with children being our biggest teachers, like just to start there, like it is so true. You learn so much, not only from becoming a mum and going through that process, and your whole identity changes in that moment because you are someone's mum and you have something to take care of when that happens. So it is like that whole identity shift, and a lot of women struggle with that because then there is something that relies on them all the time, or someone that needs them to continually show up, and other than keep them fed and keep their diapers changed, but there's so much more that's required of them that seems to be so much more pressurized, I feel, than it might be for some other parents, because it's like, I'm a mum, this baby needs me to do everything, it came from me, it's now this whole identity. And then we get so focused on these beautiful little things that we've brought into the world that we then take care of them, or we take care of other family members, that we're taking care of everyone else, that we're like, who am I now? What
And
am I doing?
we forget about ourselves too. Like,
Yeah.
it's, we've got to fill our cups up too. If we want to be available and present for our children to provide for them what we need to, we need to fill that cup too. Otherwise, we're trying to support and look after them on an empty cup. And that's when we snap. That's when we're exhausted, we burn out, we say things that we don't mean to in the moment, and then we feel guilty. So it's like learning how to respond, not react in those times, and look after ourselves so that we can give others what they need as well.
Yes. So a tired, stressed out mum is not good for anyone, really. A tired, stressed out, lost mum is not good for anyone.
Not at all.
And so you mentioned this beautiful business that you're creating with all these fabulous modalities. So I know some of them. I know what breath work is. You mentioned yoga, but I hadn't heard of, what was it, matrescence?
Matrescence, yeah.
What is that? Can you tell us a bit about what that is?
Yeah, sure. So matrescence is basically can be likened to adolescence. So it's this stage of life we go through, from maiden to mother. So when we become a mother, it doesn't have to be the first time as a mother. It can be multiple. Like if you have a second child, third child, the stage of matrescence is different every single time, but it's a stage that you go through. And so matrescence just offers us language and a framework to understand what we go through as when we become a mother, and the changes that happen with us on so many different levels, mentally, physically, emotionally, and the identity shift that we go through from becoming from maiden to now being a mother. It was originally coined in the 70s by Dana Raphael, and then made more mainstream by a psychologist, Oriel Athen, later on. And now finally, more recently, there's been a lot more come up about it, and I think it is something that needs to be more known, especially to mothers, but also to partners and to birth workers, anyone that has anything to do with supporting mothers. I think should have some understanding about this, just because it gives you an idea of what we do go through when we have this transition. It's almost ritualistic. Rituals have been lost along the times, and I feel like, it's a rite of passage that should be honored more often. We should honor the fact that we're going from this independent woman who may have had a carefree life, just doing what they want when they want, to then becoming a mother responsible for a child. And this child, they have, you know, grown in their stomach, birthed them, they've gone through that whole process. And there's so much that we go through on so many different levels that people just don't understand. And a lot of the time, it is hard to explain what you're going through. So having something like matrescence as language to use is very helpful um, for mothers. And I just think there needs to be more awareness around it too.
No, I agree. I agree. Because it is such a big change. Like, you even feel it when you're holding that baby for the first time. You feel like your whole world is changing as you look down at this thing. And then, as you mentioned, and that's with each of them. So I'm a mum of four now. And I would say each time I've held that baby, I've felt something similar but different. And growing through every age stage is a different. Like, just because they get bigger doesn't mean that they need you any less. I've heard mums of older kids saying, bigger kids, bigger problems, but it just means different. So I think it is so important. And I love the fact that you mentioned it's not just the mum's thing to carry. It's also the partners, it's the family members, it's everyone else to realize that this is happening and what is the best way to support it. Because it is, we do need a village. And for a very long time, we had a village. And it feels like now, the more we come, even though we're more connected, we feel so more apart from each other.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just, yeah, it's something to support through that transition stage. And yeah, I'm grateful to have learnt everything because during my studies, it also helped me process and, have lots of aha moments of like, oh, that's what I'm going through. Oh, yep, that makes sense now. And through this lens of matrescence, I studied through Nikki McCann, who is, she does the seasons of matrescence, is her lineage of the study of matrescence. And so she has taken the concept and she has then brought in the seasons. So we go through cycles in our life, and relating it to different seasons is very helpful in what we go through because we transition so much and there are so many different things that go in our life, especially as the children age. We think we get through one thing and we're like, finally, and then something else will come up. So it's just honoring the stage that you're in and knowing that's okay. And if it's a tough stage like a winter, that it will end. There will be a spring on the other side. There will be joy or something else that to look forward to, I guess.
Yeah. So what motive it's to have be a mum and then have a business, but then your business is to go out and help other mums. That must take quite a toll on you sometimes because not only then you're dealing with your mum stuff, but then you've got a business that's helping other mums deal with their stuff. What motivates you to keep going?
Knowing how hard it is and being so lonely myself throughout my journey, and just I guess it's healing for me as well, knowing that what I went through, and especially like when I had my daughter, it was also COVID time, so it was lockdown, so we weren't allowed to have that connection in person. And I feel like that connection in person is very, or even online, I suppose, is very crucial for a mum for mental health. And just I want to know that there are other options out there for mothers. I want to support them. And in all honesty, yeah, it is hard. And another reason why I'll bring in breath work too, because I love breath work, because I just did a session before. And for me, I just had a full physical release of pressure and expectations. So for me, I feel like I have been carrying a lot of pressure and expectations to perform, to be a better mother, to create this business and support other mothers. But to be vulnerable, yeah, I go through it too. I have my moments. And that is when I rely on the tools and resources that I have learnt, such as the Matrescence studies and the breath work and the mindfulness and all of those tools and resources to help get through those moments so that I can fill up my own cup and be available for my child and for other mothers.
And I think it's so important that you mention and that you're sharing your vulnerability, because not everything is sunshine and rainbows and unicorns all the time. And I think a lot of people with their businesses put it out there like, you should always be happy as a mum and you should always be doing this as a mum. And the thing is, just because you're a mum doesn't mean you don't feel emotions. You don't go through similar things. I don't know, you might even have a tantrum sometimes, and that's okay. But to know and to actually be able to go, look, Grace is sharing this in this space. She's sharing this vulnerability. Of course, I'm going to come to her business and then check it out, because I guess, you're down in the trenches with the other moms, like you're living it. So then you can share your experience, which I think is so important, because as mums, we don't want to know about the unicorns and the rainbows all the time. We want to know that there's going to be those storm clouds come in, and what can we do to move forward, and what can we use, the tools and the resources, or even just that listening ear that you can provide, so that we can keep moving forward and get the job done, really.
Yeah, definitely. I think, when we have a child, there's been so much given on the pregnancy and the labor part of it. But as soon as you have had the child, you're basically thrown to the wolves. There is no manual of how to raise this child or what you're going to go through as a mother to raise this child. And that's where the tools and resources and the support comes in, and that's what you need. And I feel like
Down in the trenches.
down in the trenches, yeah, yeah, that's it. So yeah, I feel like by being down in the trenches, knowing that I am there with them, because that's where I differ from a lot of other businesses. They're trying to, yeah, show you that there's rainbows and unicorns, but instead I want to be down in the trenches with you every step of the way, making sure that we do it together, knowing that you are not alone, that I am there to help and guide you. And not just me, like the idea of the Blossoming Collective is to create a sanctuary, to create a collective of mothers who can help everyone in that group to blossom and support each other. And there might be things that I don't know that another mother knows that can then tell another mother that what they need. We all have something to give and offer other mothers. And I think it is important to share that. And not only, like, I feel like the lineages of mothers too. So, the younger mothers, then there's the middle mothers, and then there's the grandmothers, So every lineage of mother has a story to tell or has advice to give. And I think it's really important to keep those lines of communication and those stories open, to share that, to help when a mother is going through something really tough, that there is support and advice. Not so much advice, because every mother and every child is different. And that's also another point I want to make, is the fact that there is no one size fits all. Your mothering journey is completely different to my mothering journey, and I want to honor that and know that what worked for me might not work for you, but what has worked for me, I would like to share in hopes that it could help you. And that's, I think is important to share as well.
You used a phrase a lot, honor the journey, and I love it, because when we're in the trenches, we don't tend to honor the journey. But even though we are a mother, that childhood period goes by so quickly. So just as an example, I've recently had a baby. He's now 4 months old, but I looked at him and I went, my eldest is 9. And I looked and went, by the time this baby is 9, my eldest will be 18. Like, how quickly that is to think. How quickly that is to think that I looked at that and went, that is so quick. And it was only, 9 years ago that seemed to just, like, I blinked. Yeah. I blinked and she's 9, and I thought this was only 9 years ago I was holding you. So it is such an intense journey, but it does go by quite quickly.
Yeah.
So to have that support and to realize like there's going to be another side, but honor that journey because, I've got her when she's 9 now. But yeah, by the time my youngest is 9, she's going to be 18 and be like, see ya, mum. I'm going off on some awesome adventure around the US or going over to live in America for a few years like you did. Like it's quite a fast journey. So
Yeah.
like I think there's that saying, the nights are long, but the years are very short. So really take that time to honor what you're going through and to honor this part of the journey.
Yeah, it's very true, Kylie. Yeah, it's sort of the whole process of mothering is an unfolding, right? We go through a different layer and a different thing, and right now it might be very hard, but on the other side of it, there is so much joy and love and, excitement to be had. And I think honoring and validating as well, validating your emotions and validating that it is hard in that moment, because so often we will suppress it and we'll just like, yep, whatever, I just got to get through, I just got to get through, I just got to get through. And it's like, no, 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 no. You need to stop for a moment and just take a moment and pause and realize, okay, yeah, it's hard in the moment. What do I need? Can I ask for support? Can I walk outside and take a couple of breaths? Can I make a cup of tea? What can I do in that moment, if it is a tough moment, just to sort of bring yourself back to you and honor where you are at that stage? And if it's a beautiful moment, honoring that too, just, sitting there and just, you know, taking it all in. So I think it is definitely, it's a roller coaster ride, right? You go
And
through
talk,
so much.
you do, and that's without juggling everything. So then you've got the mum journey, and then you've got the business as well. So what would you say, um, as because you've talked about the roller coaster of motherhood, but what would be the challenges just as a business owner that you've experienced so far?
Yeah, well, I guess for me, I've put a lot of pressure and expectation on myself to perform, which is obviously, a pattern that I've realized throughout my life. And I'm working through all of that as I'm trying to build a business and as I'm trying to raise a daughter. And putting it all together is really hard, to be honest, because what I want to create, I keep doubting myself, or I keep putting pressure on myself to do it the right way, or getting upset when I can't do something because I have to be there for my daughter. But my daughter is my priority, right? That's why I'm building this business. So it's like this constant back and forth of, okay, I'm trying to build a business so I can provide for my family, but my family sometimes gets in way of the business. But it's just this constant like, all right, okay, that didn't work today, there's always tomorrow. What can we do to, wake up the next day and make that happen? So it is a constant juggle, and it is a constant uphill battle at times, but I don't want it any other way, like the thought of having to go back to just another job. Like, I come from a hospitality background, so, going back into working cafes or restaurants or something like that, that's not what I want to do anymore. Like, I love the service aspect of it, and that's what I want to do for mothers. I want to help provide support to them so I can build this business around my daughter as well. So, yeah, it's a tricky one. It feels like you're constantly on a fine line, and also honoring that journey as well. Like, as I said, I keep putting pressure on myself, and I read something the other day, and it was like, if you are a solopreneur building your own business, you are not just one person. You're like 10. You're the marketing guru, you're the CEO of your business, you're the website developer, you're the content creator. You're doing all of these things while also trying to provide the services you want to provide, as well as be a mom and general juggling day-to-day life of meals, cleaning, all of that sort of stuff. So it's a lot, but it's also, I guess, exciting. And what excites me, like it is because you don't know what's going to happen on a day. So, and I'm putting my time and energy into something that I love and what I want to bring to the world. So, yeah.
I love the fact that you mentioned to take a moment because I get that too, especially when you're in the middle of something, like you're in the middle of creating a funnel or you're doing a website or you're doing a workbook or whatever it is, and then you need to go and get a snack or you need to go and get a milk or something is happening in the world, and it's to just stop and go, I don't want to feel frustrated. This is exactly what you said. Like, you started a business because you didn't want to work for someone else or you wanted to spend some more time with the kids. Just keep that in mind. Okay, they are my why. So yeah, I'll go and get them that 100th snack in 5 minutes because I can come back and do this at any time. So I like that you mentioned that. And with a roller coaster, we talked about the challenges. What would you say has been your biggest achievement in business so far?
Building a business, right? um, just starting and making it happen. I was reflecting, and the moment I had this thought of creating a business, of like, okay, this, I want to be available for my daughter. What can I do? And how can I do it? And um, there are so many steps that go into it, and it's been an evolving process, and a lot of it has been intuitively led, I guess. And so I am grateful and appreciate how far I have come. And those are the moments you've got to stop and honor as well. And like, I'm in the middle of building a website, and I pretty much did a lot of that in one day yesterday after I got off the phone to you, I think. And I just got to the end of the night and I'm like, oh my God, I really achieved a lot today. And I think it's taking those moments to honor and appreciate what I do actually achieve, because not every day is like that. There are days where you don't get anything done, and that's when I get hard on myself, but have to realize that it's not a linear journey. It's not a straight line. We go up, we go down, we go around, but we always come out the other side, and either as a different person or achieving so much. And yeah, it goes along with that roller coaster, right? It goes up and down, and it's just like at each point we can stop and see how far we come. And it's just, yeah, I am grateful and just appreciative of what I have achieved. And I, in all honesty, don't take a lot of time to reflect on that, or to stop and appreciate it. So yeah, it's nice when you think back to it when you ask that question. So
Yeah, I think we sometimes, because we are in the trenches or we're in the challenge, that we forget to realize how much we have achieved. So whether that is, getting up a website or, just surviving the day or whatever it is, it's all an achievement, because even those small achievements all sort of come together or all work their way towards a big achievement. So if you want to share with us, with your business, the Blossoming Collective, what's the big, hairy, scary goal? Like, where are you hoping for it to get to?
oh, you want to go there? As I said, being a mother-centered business, my goal, big goal, would be to create a space, like an actual physical space, like a sanctuary for mums. Like, I have this vision and of almost like a wellness center, a hub for mums, that can come and get what they need from it. So there's a childcare area. They can do a breathwork session or a yoga session, or if they need to talk to someone about something, just like this full center that is designed around mums to help them get what they need out of their mothering journey, and a space for connection, to help with that loneliness. There could be workshops on matrescence or, whatever topics that might be needed, nervous system regulation, things that help support mums get through their day to day lives. That's the big goal.
Beautiful. I love it. And I like the fact that there's childcare. So like you can still focus and come and there's still childcare, which is beautiful.
Yeah, well, that's a lot. Often, a lot of places don't have that, and it's like I just want to go do a yoga session, but I can't because I got my little one with me, or something like that. And so it's just knowing that you could just drop your child off for an hour while you do have that session, and but they're in the vicinity. So if anything happens, or if you need to leave early, or whatever, they're available there.
Beautiful. I love that. I would love that. Can you set up the center like now? That would be great. So like that would be so
Any
good.
investors, I'd be happy to get it going for sure.
So any listeners that are wanting to invest in that, I will be your best client and Grace is ready to go. Okay, so just let's get that sorted. So as with all your beautiful modalities and having a business that serves mum and wants to connect with the mums, what would be one tip you'd give the listeners, like a sort of like a taste test to then come and explore the Blossoming Collective?
I guess what we keep coming back to, just honoring the journey, honoring the moment, and taking those little pauses, connecting in with ourselves. Like, we have so much innate wisdom just within our physical body that we often all suppress, or we don't listen to because we have been told to ignore them, from outside, like from societal expectations. They tell you not to listen to things or your body. And so coming back inward, listening to what our body is trying to tell us, listening to that intuition. I had this little prompt the other day, and it was just around mother's intuition, right? We all have that intuition within us when we're like, oh, my child, I don't think they're quite, I think they're a bit sick or something's not quite right, or someone asks you something to do with your child, and you're like, no, 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 that doesn't feel right. You get that gut feeling of like, oh, no, 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 I don't like that. And that is your intuition. And we can tap into that on a daily basis to set boundaries or to make decisions that are coming from a full body yes, that are coming from our own power within. And I think that's important to start to listen to and not ignore like we have been taught to. That is the key in our motherhood journey, is listening to ourselves within, what sits right, what doesn't sit right, setting boundaries, and taking those moments to appreciate where you are, validate every feeling, every emotion. Know that if it's hard at that moment, it's hard. If it's great in that moment, it's great in that moment. But just, yeah, honoring yourself. You, as a mother, are superwoman. We go through so much, and yeah, you just I'm just in awe of the mothers, like I just, before I became a mother, I underestimated the power that we have and what we go through. And I think it's our superpower, and we need to utilize it and believe in ourselves. And yeah, it's just, being a mother is special.
It is, and we tend to forget that a lot. And it is such a beautiful journey. And I like that whole honoring it. It is so, I think if you don't get anything else from the podcast today, you have to honor the journey and just take that moment to really be present in it. So, how do we come and like work with you? Do you have courses or sessions? Like, how do we come into the Blossoming Collective's world?
Yep. So I'm just setting a few things up at the moment, but I am offering, as of the recording of this podcast, I'm still in my final stages of my rebirthing breathwork mastery facilitation. Um, but I offer one-to-one sessions for that. And when I graduate, I'll be offering smaller groups. I can also do one-to-one matrescence mentoring, so we can do a deep dive that's personalized for the mother, what they're going through, and just helping with the identity shift and anything else that is needed in a session. It's all pretty much intuitively led, and is designed specifically for that mother. And then I am pretty excited. I've been working hard amongst the juggle of motherhood is putting together this 4-week beta course, which would then lead into a full 12-week program as an additional 8 weeks. Um, the Blossom Effect, it's been birthed from my own journey and my own intuition. Um, the framework I am going through also stems from my love of nature and herbalism studies as well. So, planting the seed, which is the awareness stage, which is what the 4-week beta course Awaken and Align is about. So that will be launching on the 2nd of June, which is the first of my online programs. That will be a weekly, each week you will receive content to go through, and then there will be a live call where we can go do some Q&A around what the content's about, and also a live process, maybe a breath work or meditation or whatever is intuitively called for that week. So that's for 4 weeks, and then that would lead into the next stage of my framework, which was the following 3 phases of sprouting, blossoming, and shedding. So that is all deeper inner healing work. We will do more breath work, and do a bit more of a deeper dive with more contact with me throughout that stage. But the first stage will be launching, as I said, Awaken and Align, 4-week course, which helps to bring awareness to what you're going through, helps to support you in the identity shift. So gives you a bit more understanding of matrescence and what you are going through at that stage. And yeah, we will have content. We will also have journal prompts to help with that reflection, and we'll do some breath work and meditation as well. So I'm super excited to be birthing that into the world, and yeah, would love for anyone that feels called to join, to reach out, and yeah, I'd love to hold space for you. As I said, this is what my journey is about, is supporting other mothers, because I've been through it as well, and helping you know that you're not alone in it. So yeah.
So I like that the course it's the start of bringing stuff to awareness, because I think people don't realize you don't know what you need to work on until it's brought into your awareness. Like, you need to be aware or you don't know. So I love that you've got this 4-week course to sort of dip your toes in and sort of see, we sometimes think we know what we need to work on, and then once we start to, it's very much like that onion. There's other things brought into your awareness, or other side notes you didn't realize that were affecting your journey so much. So I think that's an absolutely beautiful thing. So what was that course called again, that 4-week one?
It's called Awaken and Align.
All right, so I'm going to pop the link for that below, because I know that's launching very soon, and that is a great way to sort of get in and learn a bit, join the Blossoming Collective, see what it's all about, bring to your awareness. And as you mentioned, you've got some great journaling prompts and other things to really do it. So I think that's a nice way to start honoring that motherhood journey that we've spoken about. So I will pop those details below. Now, if anyone wants to stalk you, Grace, where do we stalk you? Where do we find you and your business?
I'm probably mainly on Instagram and Facebook. So on Instagram, it's at the.blossoming.collective. And then on Facebook, it's The Blossoming Collective and my name, so Grace Leeming.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm going to pop all your links below. So if you want to honor the journey, embrace motherhood, Grace is the lady to go and talk to, and head over to all of her socials on the Blossoming Collective, as well as checking out her new course. Thank you so much for sharing your journey, or honoring your journey, and sharing that with me and the listeners. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kylie. I really appreciate it. And mamas, you are amazing. Don't forget that.